Hello, welcome back. This is Michael Hartman, licensed mental health counselor, back at you again with another video. Today we're going to be going over a concept that is helpful to really everybody. It's the notion of rumination. Rumination is a very human cognitive. Some people call it a trap, some people call it a mechanism that happens when we're going through something that provokes intense anxiety or intense emotion. Anger can make you ruminate, sadness can make you ruminate, guilt can make you ruminate, shame can make you ruminate. So, what is rumination? Let's start with that, right? Rumination is the cognitive act using your prefrontal lobe over here, the master of your mind, basically going over and over again a situation, consequences, thoughts related to something that is bothering you deeply. Now, this could be seen from the dialectical behavior therapy model, or many models that really look at the function of emotion regulation or dysregulation when we're out of control with our emotions as thoughts being shoveled onto emotion. Thoughts like being coal, emotion being fire. They say don't add mental gasoline to the emotional fire. That's what rumination does. It adds fuel to an emotion that's already hot. And for many of us, this process could feel like a very self sustaining cycle. A lot of times when we're dealing with cleaning up our mind, we find that we do a lot of things pretty much by rote, automatically, that are causing us greater amounts of stress, greater amounts of emotional pain, or are keeping us in a place of terrible emotional pain where, vice versa, if we were to experience our pain, as that is life, and try to move on from that moment, we would feel better sooner rather than later. Now, rumination might even have a function. Important things to us cause us to ruminate. For example, if you're having relationship challenges, if you're having money problems, if you're having existential crises of any type. Rumination is really the act of being Sherlock Holmes in your head and going thought by thought and thinking through something that is quite painful. The problematic rumination, right, often occurs when the rumination gets out of control. Or maybe there's no value in ruminating in that moment anymore. There's value to all mental functions, even if they really hurt. But we cannot stay in that red zone. That's the DBT concept of when you're so overwhelmed and your emotions are so floored out, like an engine being revved up, and foot against the floor, pedal to the metal. We cannot stay in that intense emotional state forever. It erodes at us. Some people have greater reserves that they can handle that. Some people might have less. That's up to you to understand what you have, and how much intense stress you can really deal with. That's temperamental. It's individually based. But for most of us, we need to let go of the gas pedal. We need to stop ruminating. We need to we need to take off these thoughts. Stop generating more thoughts, which is what's making the emotion bigger and bigger and bigger. So, how do we do this? Well, I'm going to pull up my handy dandy whiteboard. All right. Shout out to all my 90s kids or millennials who grew up with Windows 95, 98, ME, 2000, and XP that know what this is. Okay. So you guys now get to really check out my amazing art skills. So we're gonna make a person here. Oh yeah, as you can see, I have a master's in fine art. Some lips, the chin, the neck. Okay. So we're gonna call our friend here Fred. Okay, so his name is Fred. Let me make a little circle for the eye. Give him some little eyelash. Okay, and yeah, that's Fred. All right, let's make it official. Fred. Maybe it's Fred Flintstone. Okay. All right. So Fred is having a bad moment, or, you know, what we would call a hard moment, a challenging moment. Let's say Fred is at work, okay. And let's say Fred's at work, and I think we can all relate to this. So Fred's at work, and he was just given a shift for the weekend. All right. So Fred's been given a shift for the weekend. He's got to now basically work the weekend, but he didn't want to. There was a family event he needed to be at. And maybe Fred will be in the doghouse, with his wife and his children. Maybe he works a lot on the weekends, and he finally inked out one weekend. Maybe it's somebody's birthday party. Maybe it's somebody's thing, and Fred needs to, Fred really wanted to be able to spend some quality time with his family. So Fred, obviously, right? We're just to make this really photorealistic here and really understandable. Fred is upset. He does not know what he's gonna do. He's not happy. And so, in Fred's noggin, which is what we're really gonna look at here, right? Let's go into Fred's noggin. What is Fred thinking? Well, he might definitely. This is actual neuroscience, guys. This is how it works in the head. Worried that, he won't make the event. Like, like I'm not going to be able to make the birthday party. Let's call it a birthday party. Birthday party for 3-year-old. See, now we're making it more realistic here. So I think we can have empathy for Fred here. Worried that he won't make the event. So the worry is the emotion here. Let's really understand this from a emotional level. Come on, let me. Oh, I'm clicking on the wrong display. Okay, so the worry is really. Let me underline that. Actually, that'll give us a better effect. And everything is. You can see I'm a technical wizard here. Okay, so really, this is the emotion here. Let me circle it then. It's not gonna listen. Let's call it red because worry is a hot emotion. So he's worried that he won't make the event, right? And so the worry reflects the state of affairs. Emotions are signals to us that we've evolved or grown or were given, whatever you want to call it, that tell us about situations. So why would Fred worry? Why would Fred worry that he won't make the event? Well, he's going to miss the event. He's going to miss his daughter's third party. He might miss, the gifts, the cake, There's worry. Worry prepares you for challenges. So the worry, right? What do we have to be worried about? Well, wife, oh, we're still in red. Maybe that's appropriate, but it's not really too legible. The wife will be mad. So let's tweak this. So why the emotion of worry? Question mark. Well, wife's gonna be mad at him, and that can create a whole bunch of thoughts. Well, what if she's gonna leave me? We don't know the state of Fred's marriage. Maybe Fred has to work a lot, and maybe that puts on a lot of strain on his relationships. I think we can all relate to that, competing interests in our lives. It's like, oh, well, if I miss this event that my friend invited me to, well, I missed the last two. I don't want to appear like I don't care, So in this case, wife will be mad. This might, if we're going to really think about it and really go down the emotional, network here that thoughts might connect with, will this eventually lead to, status of marriage? Is there a separation worry? Worry about separation or worry about conflict? Separation is really, one of the worst things, one of the worst possible outcomes. But when we worry, we oftentimes go to the worst scenario. That's called catastrophizing. One of the great cognitive psychologists called that a cognitive error. But it's not, maybe, it could get us into trouble. We can worry a little bit too much. Maybe the marriage is, fine. Maybe Fred is an upstanding husband and, everything's okay. But, what if, if let's take a situation where Fred is really walking the tightrope here, in his relationship. It's like, could this be the straw that broke the camel's back, or my relationship's back? So maybe Fred's developing a bit of courage here. Maybe Fred's saying, listen, I need to make my kid's birthday party. Maybe, up top here, I wrote that, it's a worry that he won't make the events, but maybe there's also a worry that, worry over saying no. Let's put that to boss, the person giving you these orders. Who knows what Fred's job is? Is he an accountant? Is it in the middle of tax season? That's a realistic example. Where your job, the demands of your job really put you at odds with your responsibilities as a father or as a parent or as a responsible one, in the family. And what would it be like to say no to the boss? Is the boss a stickler, a micromanager? We don't know this boss. Also, let's just go over here. I'm just going to bring it back to me for a sec. Bam. Okay, so, we don't know Fred's temperament. Fred might be highly agreeable. A lot of us are. Personality-wise, there are 5 traits. Openness, conscientiousness, extroversion, agreeableness, and N stands for neuroticism. And so A is agreeableness. Fred might not have the natural drive to say no. He might not have the mental, natural, sharp teeth. He can. He's human. He's capable of a lot of wonderful things, a lot of variety in his behavior. But some of us are more agreeable. We value harmony. We don't like feeling any of this in our relationship, especially when we're working with a boss. They got a little power over us, and couple that with the idea of neuroticism, which is sensitivity to negative emotion. That creates a lot of anxiety in people. Some people are more predisposed to feeling anxiety, to feeling stress. Whereas some people might say, okay, well, whatever, it's all right. I'll figure it out. Some people go, you don't know. And then, there's also C for conscientiousness, right? Some people are extremely conscientious at their work. I know for me, if I'm not doing something, making a therapy video, seeing a client, doing something valuable, I lose my mind. And there's some people who are like that. There are some people who really value chill time, downtime, and that's whatever, whatever floats your boat, whatever gives you satisfaction, that's okay. But different wiring. So Fred might be highly conscientious. And then E, extroversion. Does Fred want to be sitting typing on his keyboard all day when he could be out with his relatives, his family, his friends, celebrating a birthday party? Let's say Fred likes that and values, contact with others, especially his kin. So, there's a lot going on here. Let's get back to Fred's head. So obviously we can keep on postulating a lot of different things here, and Fred, Fred is probably nervous as hell. He's thinking about all these scenarios, right? So let's give him a little, like, like his head is on fire. Okay, there we go. So, Fred is really having a hard time. Like he's just his head's on fire. He's thinking about a million different things. And this relates back to one of my other videos on Beck's cognitive triad. Emotions cause thoughts, thoughts cause emotions, behaviors cause thoughts, behaviors cause emotions, etc. It's all a network. So our brain is like, it's thinking things, then feeling something, then thinking, then feeling. And in a Fred situation, it's just really tough for the guy, And so it's like, well, one aspect of rumination that maybe we could help Fred with here is like, well, why, like, maybe he has to find committed action. Like, why should he keep on suffering? Like, why should Fred not pick something, So one of the cures for rumination is, I was about to write curse with that red color. Let's see here. Come on. Where's the mouse? All right, there we go. So a cure for rumination is first mindfulness. You got to realize that you're caught in this like feedback loop of your thoughts are causing intense emotions, which are causing more intense emotions, which are causing more thoughts. You have to be aware. That's the first step. So, step one, it's like you become aware. Become aware of the mental cycle of rumination. And this is like being awake. You kind of come up for a second. Instead of just suffering, you're like, oh my God, I realize I'm suffering. Oh my God. I'm ruminating here. What do I do? What do I do? Well, I'm here to tell you. So then we might need to, let me fix that. Rumination. The cure for rumination is mindfulness. Taking a step back mentally. I'll show you how to do that in a sec. And then committing to action. Committing to action. So one, we have to become aware of the mental cycle of rumination. That's the mindfulness right here. Step two, take a step back. We need to be able to take a step back. Take a step back, away. Slide back. Get perspective. Thinking of all the synonyms for what this might mean. Get perspective. Take a breather. Or literally taking a few deep breaths, cutting off the feedback loop here. So if Fred is like pulling his hair out at the office, or if he's in the car, Fred might need to, pull into a Dunkin' Donuts. Go, oh my God, okay, I gotta figure this out. Go in, get a Dunkaccino, get a iced coffee, use the bathroom for a sec, splash his face off with some cold water, go out, breathe in some cool air if it's the spring like it is now, whatever, and just go, what do I do? What do I do? And so this allows you to break anxiety cycle. Because remember, the more thoughts you throw on an emotion, the bigger the emotion gets. You stop throwing the thoughts on the emotion, and also you soothe. That's like going with a fire extinguisher. Now, an emotion really like this, what Fred's going through, can't be put out super easily, right? But maybe we can get it to die down, like coals. Coals could be blazing hot, or we can lower the flame a bit. Step 3. Committing to action. So let's say Fred gets home and he gets undressed out of his suit or whatever he's wearing for work, and he goes, "Ugh, what do I do? What do I do here?" And he has to figure out what he's got to do. It's like, well, I got to make the baby's party. I got to be able to do, I got to be able to do this. I got to be able to, figure something out here. So, now that Fred's take a step back, he cooled himself down, he's got to start thinking of solutions, which maybe he was doing when he was ruminating. Thinking of solutions, but at a lower emotional state. And we'll just put less intense. And so, let's actually put, and also strip, and less stressed. There we go. I think that conveys it. So, maybe Fred has to really say to the boss, like, listen, I've been working overtime. I've been, I have to make my little girl's birthday party, and I'll work the following week. I'll work until 9. That might be a solution. Might be that the work can actually wait, and it's just his nerves that are getting in the way. Like, some people have really big emotional responses to things, when really we have to check ourselves and be like, oh, well, I think I might be blowing this out of proportion. Fred might not be an accountant working tax season right now. He might be just a teacher, and he could, maybe he's very, very particular in getting his tests graded on time. But, daughter's 3-year birthday party doesn't come around every day. Now, let's say Fred's conscientious. Let's say he's caught up. Let's say this is just a type A personality type thing kicking in. Whoa. Got to step back. And then once that he does do this, once he figures out what he's got to do, whether he's going to let the work, lay for a second, whether he's got to say no for the boss, maybe, he's got to commit to it and be like, okay, well, this is going to be really hard. I like to do things on time, etc. And I love my daughter, and I got to go spend time with my wife. I gotta enjoy I gotta keep inflating the relationship too, because you gotta keep on putting gas in the tank in a relationship in order for it to keep going. Understanding only lasts for so long. So that's how we stop rumination, and thanks to Fred, we figured it out a bit. I wonder what situations you thought of when we were speaking about our good old pal Fred. Is it work situations? Are there relationship situations? Are there personal situations? Are there exercise goals? I don't know. Health goals, health problems. Life is full of so many problems. I can write a book probably on just listing different types of problems: money problems, mortgage problems, in-law problems, family problems, mom and dad problems, grade problems, teacher relationship problems. Wow. Mamma mia. It's a lot of problems. And our problems cause us to chew on them because we need to figure out solutions. As human beings, we are problem solvers in our very nature. Our neurological system is wired to get revved up to figure out a problem. That's why the news cycle tends to be more negative than positive, because that's what draws our attention. Ruminating, though, while it can be helpful, sometimes needs to be soothed for a sec so that we can take ourselves from here down to here, and down here we may be able to think a bit more reasonably. So that's it for today. If you're in psychotherapy and you have any questions on rumination or any concepts we brought up today, talk to your psychotherapist about this. Most of us have been trained. This is like kind of 101 cognitive behavioral stuff. So, there's a lot of experts out there who can help you kind of thread the needle on this one, where this is more of a general introduction. Again, my name is Michael Hartman, licensed mental health counselor. Thank you so much for watching today, and I hope you have a nice one.